Hey everybody, Tokasa here and welcome back to another My Hero Ultra Impact video. So today we are going to talk about all the little tips and tricks and characters and lineups and memories you can use to beat Climax Battle All Might. First things first, there are a lot of characters you cannot use for this fight. So unfortunately, I do not have a massive list for you. It's just relegated to a few specific characters, which kind of sucks. And yeah, I wish I had a long list to give you about 40 characters that could beat this fight, but it's just not the way it is. It's a difficult fight. Climax Battle is meant for endgame content. Not everybody's going to be able to beat it. 2. I am not the greatest at this game. Everything I might say, it could be completely false. I could be completely wrong about certain characters' kits and how they're built, or recommendations how to beat All Might. There is a Reddit, there is a Discord, there are people there that are smarter than me, many of them, probably everybody. That will definitely help guide you towards victory, right? Everybody there is very helpful. They're not going to mock you for having a crap account. I literally have like 600 characters here. I'll even show you, just in case you're feeling bad, right? I have 1 billion characters at level 1. I'm a content creator, and I don't even level up these freaking characters. I just don't care. So everybody there will help you, regardless of who you have. They'll try to make it work with who you got, and yeah, hopefully you can still pull a victory. And yeah, there are people out there that can help you more than I can help you. But I am going to try to state everything I think can help you beat this fight. So without further ado, let's hop in and see how we can deal with Mr. All Might here. First things first, if you can replicate this lineup, do it and you'll win. It's as simple as that. I don't lose anybody. I don't even get close to losing anybody. And I barely have to pay attention to the screen. Now, keep in mind, I have everybody premium. I have very good memories on everybody. I don't really have troubles. The only thing I can't afford to do when I do my runs is mess up my action skill chains. But I don't mess up my action skill chains, and I guess some of the ordering I have to do towards the end, but other than that, it's a very easy run for me. Getting the plus ultras, getting everything done, very easy to do. The front line doesn't even really matter. The back 3. So Midoriya in the 3rd slot. Make sure whoever is in the 3rd slot is your most important character, because they will fight on the front line, and then in the second half of the fight where he knocks back and brings in the sub characters, the 3rd unit will always come back with the other 2. So whoever you have here, where I have Midoriya, make sure that is your best character, your most viable character. Whether that be Momo, whether that be Mina, make sure your main character is there, because you definitely want them to come on both sides of the fight. If you have Steampunk, it's not even arguable. I will come over there and find you and yell at you if you don't put Midoriya in that 3rd slot, because he is by far the best character. Outside of him, Momo's very good there, Mina's very good there, Redestro's can be pretty good there, Tokoyami can be good there. I'll get into that later. But yeah, your best character needs to be in that 3rd slot. And as you can see, I basically just have max HP on everybody. Max HP is the most important thing, outside of Midoriya, because he's just that good, right? He's built to counter this fight. I just have his main memory in here. Very powerful, right? So I would use something like this on your DPS, but everybody else needs HP. Everybody else needs to live. To be completely honest, if that was even Tokoyami there, I'd probably use max HP. It's just HP here is the key to victory. Well, okay. Let me retract that statement. Is a nice stepping stone towards victory, because there are some crucial things you need for this fight. Alright, let's hop into what All Might does and what is his main gimmicks, as in just, there's really only one main gimmick that this unit does that makes a fight incredibly difficult. But in terms of the little things, before we even look at the recommended bar on top, Tranquility is a new ability he has. I will switch back over to my window here and just kind of state what it is, but basically all it is you can't crit All Might. So if you're wondering why you're not doing a lot of damage, if you're wondering why you can't hurt All Might or you're not critting, he completely negates crit. So you cannot crit him, you just can't. He also can't crit you, but that doesn't matter. But you cannot critical attack this opponent. So if you're wondering why your damage sucks, that could be it. Number 2, this unit has a way to shut down 2 colors. Blue and green cannot be brought into this fight at all. Do not bring blue and green, you are just asking to lose. It's not because he lowers the skill impact down to those colors. It's not even because of the defense. Well, actually, it probably would be the defense, but the fatigue. You can't plus ultra. Fatigue just shuts down plus ultra. You need to plus ultra 8 times, and he will make sure you will never plus ultra. Trust me, I tried Compress, who gives plus ultra gauge gain to the entire team. I had strong battle formation on him. I had Celebrations Todoroki, who gives plus ultra gauge to the whole team. I also had Momo with strong battle formation beside him to make sure his action skill cooldowns were always aligned. Still couldn't plus ultra. Do not bring blue and green into this fight. You will lose. Number 3, I mean, I already stated it. You have to plus ultra All Might 8 times in the final phase. Now, you've experienced that from A to S. You have to plus ultra like 2, 3, 5 times or something like that. In SS difficulty, you have to plus ultra gauge him, plus ultra him 8 times. So have plus ultra gauge gain on your back lineup in some variant. For me, it's just the memory. Strong battle formation is just to make sure that everybody is getting some nice plus ultra gauge gain. And it is all you need. Just make sure you have something like that. It is essential because you need to get 8 plus ultras. And the longer the fight goes, you are going to lose. Make sure your plus ultras are just flying out. And like I said, Midoriya has it too. He gives plus ultra gauge gain to the whole team. I'm not going to go into his kit. He's the best character in this fight. It's just Celebrations Bakugo all over again. Bring him if you have him. Slap him in your 3rd slot. And then 4th, and by far his worst gimmick in this fight, what makes him as hard as he is, what makes it, you know, people need advice and help, and even myself when I first did this, it was such a difficult fight, is right here where I am spamming. This character, they thought it was a great idea for him to have recovery block. You cannot heal. You just can't. There's no way to heal around it, like in terms of like pure healing, you can't. So when you are trying to get 8 plus ultras in, that's a lot of turns you have to get through 8 plus ultras. He gets to hurt and beat the crap out of you without any consequences, right? Because you can't heal. You just simply cannot heal. And that is why this fight is so difficult for so many people. He's incredibly, incredibly tough to beat. He also got to get a lot of buffs towards the end. So if you let him get all those buffs and you are not healing, you're just going to get one-shotted. He's going to ignore your last stand. He's going to pierce right through that crap. He's going to KO you in a single punch. You are done for. Absolutely done for. Recovery block is stupid. It's not fun. And I don't know why it's part of it, but it is. So we have to deal with it. And now we are going to go through ways to negate recovery block. You can't negate it. Sorry, that's bad wording. You go and play around it and survive and win. Now, even though I said that this team lineup can do it like no problem, I still have to be, you know, careful of my rotations and actions that I do with certain skills to make me win. Okay, now we're going to look at the recommended, which I think is the most important. I'm just going to point out the most important things, and it's honestly just the last few there. As important as max HP up is and last stands, because max HP, though not stated here, is definitely one of the better things you can do here, is the canceling temporary buffs. Why that's so important is because if you don't cancel this opponent's buffs by the end, you're going to die. You're just going to die. He's going to ignore any last stands you have, any max HP you give yourself, and he's just going to kill you in one hit. If you can't remove his buffs, you're in a lot of trouble. So in terms of characters that can remove buffs, I'm just going to name 2 or 3. Now, there could be more. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I have not tested out everybody because I'm lazy, and when I found a team that I was comfortable with, I just moved on. But this is the absolute best character, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I mean, you could argue Momo for many reasons, but this is probably the second best character in this fight. Now, Mina is new, and she was a general pull banner unit, so a lot of people probably skipped, especially she was like a couple months before Annie, so of course most people would. But I do think Mina is going to help you get to the finish line much easier than the majority of characters out there. So if you have her, she's incredibly powerful. 1, she's purple, obviously beating yellow. 2 action skills, or 1 action skill in the plus ultra. This removes temporary buffs, and this removes temporary buffs. This partnered beside someone like Steampunk Deku is insanely good. And yes, I'm not going to talk about Steampunk. His plus ultra gets rid of 3 temporary buffs. Steampunk Deku is just the best. But this character is just right up there, right? You got 2 ways to remove temporary buffs. Maybe I'll even throw in a run at the end so you can kind of see what I do, and just like I'll point out the things that I like see that make the fight so much easier and why she's so good. And another thing right here is she has the ability to give all allies last stand, I think. Right? I think she gives all the allies the ability to make last stand 2 times without being effective. So very, very powerful. and it only works when without being affected by action skill damage down, so removing buffs really, really does help. So she is bread and butter phenomenal in here. Her action skill cooldown times are 4. You don't have to play around them that well or that much. It's very easy to do. Throw somebody on like Momo and you are good to go. Or even Celebrations Todoroki, right? Very, very good. Who else removes temporary buffs? One that I see a lot of people use. This is definitely more obtainable for most people, especially if you have been you're a veteran at the game, you've been playing it for a while. You probably even have a better one than I do, and that is All For One. I've actually heard All For One is quite good in this fight. Haven't used him. As you can see, I didn't really do his Climax Battle due to absolute laziness. There is no other way to go around it. I've been lazy when it comes to characters I am not super fond of. You know, bad for content creating, but you know, good for my sanity. But yeah, this character is very, very good for this fight because he also removes temporary buffs in his action skill and plus ultra. So very, very good. This action skill cooldown is very low. I know this one's high, but you can play around with this top one quite a bit, where if you have a bunch of action skill cooldown time lowering with somebody else like Momo with Celebration Todoroki, you do this, you have good plus ultra gauge gain on memories, like Celebration Todoroki. I'll get to him. He's one of my favorite characters in this fight. You can just kind of go back between this action skill and plus ultra. You just kind of spam it. Is what I am assuming is the game plan here, because this cooldown is 6, so I think this one's out of the question here. He also gives himself plus ultra gauge gain, I believe. Yep, himself to plus ultra gauge gain, which is really nice, and he reduces action skill cooldown time of all allies, excluding himself. Just makes everything run pretty smoothly, so he's pretty good here. Now, I have seen a specific player, I think it's Pyro, shout out to Pyro, because he's a maniac and literally too good at this game, but I've seen him use this character. I've even seen him use this lineup, I think. I could be wrong. So it can be done with insanely whack characters, but they're probably highly invested. I don't remember what levels they were, or memories he used, or his actual rotations, or how much RNG was in play, if it took him 1 turn or 55 attempts, I don't know. But it can be done with somebody like this, because Aizawa is somebody else that removes temporary buffs. Like I said, I'm not going to speak about him too much, because I haven't used him. Somebody else that I'm assuming is okay in this final fight is probably Red Aizawa. For those that have fought him, he removes temporary buffs like no tomorrow. Granted, I haven't used them in this fight, so I'm not 100% sure. But if you have, let me know down below. Let everybody know if he's actually a viable option. But from what I've heard is Climax Battle All For One is probably one of the best options, but the absolute best option is Mina. And I will gladly state that. I'm pretty confident in saying that too, that she is the absolute best option. So, the next most important thing outside of removing buffs is, of course, Last Stand max HP. Now, you can't heal from Recovery Block from All Might, but you can play around it with max HP increase, which is why Momo is phenomenal for this fight. Momo, it's crazy how good this character is and how well she's going to age forever and ever. I'm not going to go through this too heavily, but she increases max HP for all allies. She lowers cooldown for the entire team. She gives Last Stand. Why that is so powerful is when you increase your max HP, the health you have left also increases with it, right? It scales together. So it's a weird way to heal. You're just really giving yourself more max HP, which is essentially giving you health. Granted, it's not a lot. You ain't going to get a lot of health, but it lets you play around it, I believe. I think that's how that works. I could be wrong. But from my understanding, that is how it works. Or even if you're at the beginning of a fight, right, you increase your max HP right off the bat, you're going to have a much better chance of surviving, because even if All Might hits 20k on you, it's a lot better than losing 20% of your health if you're at 100k health, or 100 health, or 100,000 health. Or Momo's max HP increase, along a strong battle formation, along with, a memory like this here, I forgot the name, like ways to increase your max HP. So then your health's more like 180,000, right? So when All Might's beating the crap out of you, it's going to take him a lot longer to do that. And then, of course, the Last Stands. Very crucial in this fight. They only come into play, though, if you have buff removal, because All Might can start to go right through your Last Stands if you don't remove his buffs, which I think a lot of people do have a lot of trouble with. So having somebody that can remove buffs, partnered with Last Stands, partnered with max HP is the bread and butter to the finish line. It is the best chance you're going to have to winning this fight. So if you can run these duo in the back, I think that's your best play. Other characters that you can work really well back here, Redestro, he is a very good option back here as well. Of course, he gets max HP. He's got a bunch of Last Stands. He just doesn't really remove buffs. So I've seen a lineup with Redestro and All for One do it, and Momo being the third. Because remember, if you got to do 8+ ultras, you're probably going to KO him in damage anyways without even having a crazy DPS. So just getting the plus ultras, getting the damage as fast as you can is important. Redestro is also really good for this fight too, because after he gets his stress level to 10, he gains piercing shot, and bullseye is not really important, but he gains piercing shot, which increases his value tremendously. So I've seen, yeah, the Redestro All for One, like Climax Battle duo on the back lineup pull it off. So it can be done with those like other characters. It's just, like I said, it's not going to go as smoothly. You might not completely win. You might fall 10 times before you get that one up. But that is back lineup choices that I have seen work. But from my experience, Momo and Mina work the best. And to like reiterate, I'll do it at the end, but I'll say it again here. The most important things for this fight, bar none, buff removal, temporary buff removal. If you have Mina, please run her. Max HP and Last Stands. Those three things will help you get to the finish line more than anything. And then fourth would be plus ultra gauge. You need to make sure you're just getting your plus ultras. And then fifth, action skill cooldowns. You want to make sure, because it all works together towards plus ultras, right? You need your action skills aligned. You need plus ultra gauge gain so you can plus ultra, right? And then to make sure you survive while you do all 8+ ultras, buff removal, because he gets a lot of buffs. I'll probably do a run at the end of this just to show you what I mean. Well, I'm not going to show you what happens when he KOs you, but I'll just show you what buffs you're removing and just why it's so powerful. Last Stands, increase your max HP, some sort of way to get healing outside of his stupid recovery block because he doesn't let you heal, and Last Stands, because if you're removing his buffs and he does hit you with some crazy plus ultra and he does take you down to 1 health, you will be able to live it, which is why it's so important. If you can run these trio, it's very important. Remember, Midoriya isn't fully needed here because Momo and Mina do what he does outside of the damage. So Tokoyami, a very good TPS. Lady Nagant, a very good DPS. Purple Bakugo, I don't have him, a very good DPS. I just messed up everything. I've heard Fantasy Bakugo is a pretty good choice here. Like, there's just a lot of good characters that can be used here. So, oh, now I'm just messing up everything. And, yeah, that's just kind of how I would approach the back lineup. So, I'm not saying everything I'm saying is completely correct, but that is kind of the approach that I would take with it. So, that's the main thing. Now, in terms of the front lineup, it's really just getting to the back lineup. It's really what it is. So, I like having a lot of plus ultra gauge gain and defenses and max HP upright because the recovery block starts from the beginning. So I like running Todoroki and Deku. Now you don't have to run them. You can try to do it the bully way and do like Tokoyami and like a Lady Nagant. I would prefer having somebody like Todoroki that has action skill lowering, because you just want to make sure your rotations are just in sync, right? So if you want to know what characters lower action skill cooldown time for all allies, literally just go over to this website, My Hero UI. Shout out to Hydros, greatest website ever. Over here to skills, and then cooldown time reduction. You are, I would assume you are. You can use some SRs, so I'll do that. DST to start with, right? And just kind of work your way with this list. Like, I know this SR All Might, I've beaten it with him. I don't even know if y'all can see him. Oh, you can't see him. Good. I was making sure I switched back, but like, there are characters that you can use outside of just like main top tier units. Like, I know I'm using Celebrations Deku and Celebrations Todoroki, but you can win this fight without premium units. Like, it can be done. But this is what I would recommend. Especially that he's really good, this unit. He lowers action skill cooldown times for everybody but himself. Plus ultra gauge gain, I believe. Very good units. So remember to check out this website if you're struggling, if you need that little bit of help to get to the finish line. A very good choice here. And now let me go back to my game screen. No, that's not it. There we go. Other things to know. Piercing shot. I kind of stated that with tranquility, so we don't have to worry about that. Static, I don't... Now, I could be wrong. Like, here we go. Leave a note down below in the comments below. I don't really think it's that important. But it is very nice, and then plus ultra gauge gain up. So that's about it. Other characters that, of course, are very good here, that I do not have. Now, I'm sure there's more than what I'm about to state, but Fantasy Ochako, definitely a staple, a very good option if you don't have someone like maybe Mina, maybe Momo. I would use a unit like this. Action skill cooldown, lowering time for the whole team, plus ultra gauge gain for the whole team. Very defensive character who has a very good memory with the Fantasy Meadow. Just a very, very good option. Now, of course, defense too, but she does give a lot of crit rate with Composure. Unfortunately, not usable here, but a good substitute for sure. Might be able to take you to the finish line, and I think she would be viable enough to run on the back lineup, right, just for survivability. Like I said, haven't used the character, so I cannot state that, and I cannot assure that for sure that it is a good choice, but from what I've heard, it can be done with her, so hopefully that does help. And in terms of other characters, in terms of another DPS, where are you, Mr. Bakugo? This is another really good damage unit. Doesn't have piercing shot, but does build up like a freaking machine. So I think this character could also shine pretty well in here. Just a lot of damage right over time, and especially in the third slot, he's going to come back on the back lineup, and he's going to help you do a lot of damage. So now he does kind of build up her crit though with this plus ultra or something like that, but not much you can do about that. Plus ultra gauge gain is really good. Overwhelm, of course, is how he gets the majority of his damage. A very solid option for sure, for sure. Now, like I said, there could be more. There could be many more options that I'm just not stating, especially in the DPS end. Like, I've seen like units like Purple All Might actually being useful here. Now I haven't tested him because I don't want to use him, but he could be good here. But I'm not too sure. I can't say that, with confidence. And remember, go through all these characters, go through their characters' kits. There might be some in here that are hiding that could be pretty good. Like, I could even see Shigaraki being solid in here, maybe. You are fighting a pro hero, right? So you're getting that extra damage. I don't think you could fear him, but, like, DPS characters aren't near as important as the back lineup, where it's, like, buff removal, max HP, and, last stance. Like, that is by far the most important thing. So I'm going to call it there. I am going to do a run just to kind of show you why everything works as well as it does for me, and I'll try to point out the little things while I can. I don't know if my camera is going to be... Okay, it's not blocking this buff bar, which is really good. Like I said, you can leave by this point. I kind of went over everything that I think will help you get to the finish line. Like I said at the beginning too, is I don't have... I left Tokiyami here. Oh, that's fine. I don't have many characters to recommend. I wish I had more. I really, really do. I just unfortunately do not have more, great options to recommend to winning this fight. It's unfortunate. It's a limited fight where you have to use a specific amount of characters. Now, I'm sure you could probably get away with, like, I don't know, a few other characters that I didn't mention, but the window is still not going to be very high. You're going to be struggling, most likely, right? Oh, he beating up Todoroki pretty good here, huh? That's not fun. Maybe I should have switched back Celebrations Deku for Tokoyami, but I think we could still make it work here. So we're gonna try anyways. If it doesn't work, then I will cut this out and I'll go switch it back to the other team, because Midori is pretty good for just survivability. But I think this team will probably just be enough damage bully-wise, because Tokiyami does hit like a freaking freight train. And so does Midori, of course. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. But I'm assuming this is gonna be fine enough. So you see all the buffs he's got on top there? So if we go over to All Might here, I'm not gonna go through everything, but like once these buffs start to ramp up, you stand really no chance. Why I'm doing everything I can not to sneeze. And it's just not fun. Which is why having buff removal, I would argue, is just as important as anything, because he starts ramping up damage like no tomorrow, which is why I think even more important than all his, like, the max HPs and last stand is just having buff removal. Because even as you're seeing, he's starting to tear through my units, and it's just gonna lead to a painful death, right? Which is why you need to have somebody that can remove buffs, which is why Midori is so good here. You'll see the buff bars on top there. There is 4. After he plus ultras, there's none. Too powerful of a unit. So this is where the back lineup will come in. And this is, yeah, now it's just kind of like explaining and showing why it's so good the way it is. So I always start with Momo. I always give my max HP to Mina, because I just think Mina needing to survive is more important than Deku. Deku's building up defense anyways, he'll be fine. I always do this ability next. He gives the other max last stance to Midoriya. So just make sure everybody's good, Momo too. I like to do this, and then I just kind of do the same thing with Deku. And then I just kind of rinse and repeat this rotation. And you're going to see here, every time All Might gets his buffs, we're going to completely ignore it. And as you can see, the max HP showing that it did literally no damage to me there whatsoever. And it's just incredibly powerful. All Might right now has 2 attack buffs, as you can see with his attack bar up here. Mina's going to completely negate that here, which is really good. Last stance for everybody. The buffs are gone, so the damage he's going to do is going to go down substantially. You know, he just gained a bazillion buffs. We'll throw in our plus ultras again. There's the recovery block. Can't do anything about that. I'm going to take a little bit of damage, but everybody getting max HP, we can kind of negate that. Mina and Midoriya both remove buffs. And yeah, we're right back to the same rotation, right? So now we just kind of rinse and repeat here. And this is why I kind of like having Momo on the back lineup too, because with strong battle formation, it only lasts 9 turns. I don't have a memory that like constantly forever and ever gives action skill lowering, so I like this, especially when you're not running a duo with like 2 units that lower action skill cooldown time. Like I don't have Todoroki plus Momo, then I might build my team a little bit differently, but in this situation, this is the reason I like having Momo in the back lineup. So All Might's about the plus ultra. We're all faster. Mina and Deku remove his buffs up there, so those 2 little attack buffs he's got going on are gonna mean, you know, diddly squat. There we go, buff removal. Essentially rendered useless. And that will do 31k, but as you can see, my max HP is through the freaking roof, so it's not really a problem at this point. And then, yeah, it's like I said, it's just rinse and repeat. I probably should have plus ultra there with Deku. It is what it is. Because as you're seeing, DPS isn't that important. He's already down to 1 HP, which matters nothing because he's got to be plus ultra 8 times. We will do a double plus ultra, and we will do this ability because it gives everybody last stand. That'll do 22k, which will mean nothing. He's got his buffs for right now. Deku removes them. And yeah, it just makes the fight a lot easier. It really does. So Mina is going to plus ultra. I'm going to give her the max HP over Deku because she's definitely taking way more damage than Deku. Deku's a tank. And that'll do some damage. Did I not click plus ultra? Did I just fumble? I don't think I clicked plus ultra. That's not bad. See, I'm making this run look really bad, but it's still really easy for me. But I also have all the premium characters, so keep that in mind as well. So there's our 3 plus ultras. There's his little baby plus ultra that does nothing. And there we go. So the main reason that looked so easy at the end is because of the buff removal, because of the last stands, and because of the max HP. Those 3 things are more important than anything. And as you've seen, I had a lot of plus ultra gauge in my whole team there, so it wasn't really a big problem whatsoever. And that's what kind of brings me to the finish line. So anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I hope, you know, that advice helps you. Like, I know a lot of people are probably going to mention or think that they just don't have a lot of these characters, which is probably true. And I wish I had another solution for you. And that's why I want everybody that does watch this, that does have a better solution, that does have a more free-to-play friendly team, or a less, like, I guess, wailed-out team than me, leave it down below in the comments. Help out everybody that you can. And hopefully we can help people get to the finish line, because it is just not an easy fight. It's not an easy fight. Obviously, I made it look easy there, but I have everything you need to make it look easy, right? Which is a very specific lineup of characters. So, long story short, quick summary. Green and blue, do not bring. Max HP, last stand, buff removal, very good. All Might cannot be critted because of Tranquility, but he can also not crit, but we don't care about that. You have to do 8 plus ultras at the end, so make sure you have good action skill alignment with your final 3 characters, as well as plus ultra gauge gain, with either within a memory or within a character's kit. Make sure you also have max HP last stand. I already said that because this character does not let you heal. Recovery block is broken. It is stupid. So you need to counteract it with buff removal to make sure he doesn't start ramping up damage, and max HP and last stand just to make sure you survive. If you have Steampunk Deku, do run him third, please. You need him on both lineups. He's just too powerful. But remember, Midoriya isn't needed for this fight. Watch my first video. It was a rough way to the finish line, but it is beatable without Midoriya. It was just me figuring out the back lineup was the main key strategy to winning this fight. So if you can replicate something like Momo and Mina, Redestro and Climax Battle all from one, Celebrations Todoroki also works phenomenal in the back lineup. Before I figured out Mina and Momo, I was doing Mina and Todoroki. Did just as good, still worked just as well. Literally the same memory on Momo as I had on Todoroki. I just found sometimes it kind of got a little sketchy with damage because obviously Todoroki was taking a lot more than Momo because of type advantage, right? So either that also works too. Just remember to chalk out those 3 things at the end. Buff removal, last stand, max HP. That is probably going to be your best chance at victory, having that. And then 4th being plus Ultra Gauge up, right? Max skill cooldowns. Which I just combined in one. So that'll be it for this one. A longer video. I'm gonna need a good drink after this. I'm pretty tired. And I hope that this helps somebody out there get to the finish line. Helps somebody, at least a few people out there, beat this fight. Because it is just not an easy fight. It's just not. And it's just a small circle of characters that are usable in this fight, unfortunately. And it's just mainly the second half of the fight that makes it so tricky. So that's really what I wanted to emphasize in this video. And I hope maybe you didn't fully understand his kit and something I said did help you survive and get your first W on this. Or maybe you just needed that character to see in action or me explain them. Help, you know, understand it a little bit better and why to beat him. So anyways, thank y'all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. We are striving for 8,000 subscribers. I think we're only about 120 away, so that's amazing. And yeah, any sort of recommendation, any sort of like help, advice, team build, memories that you can leave for your, you know, other players out there, leave it down in the comment below. Post it on Reddit. Make it clear that you can help out others. We're all just trying to help beat this freaking Climax Battle all night. So that'll be it for this one. Hopefully you get the win. Let me know if you do. And until the next one, take care and Tokus out.